What's up, everybody? Pipes the Beer Guy here. This is your Thriving and Surviving the First Hour guide for Grounded. Okay, so we are starting her up. Single player, new game, Max, because he is the best of all time ever. Can name your yard. We're not going to do that. I feel like I'm slouching. Am I slouching? My gaming chair is a recliner, so bit of an elitist. Alright. First and foremost, materials. Pick up everything that you find. Rocks, sprigs, plant fibers. We are going to be going to the resource analyzer first and foremost. These are mushrooms. These are the lifeblood of the first hour of the game. They are your number one food source, and they are also bait to create your biggest eventual food source. Grab as much of this as we can. Okay, now first I am going to analyze the rock so we can get our pebblet axe. Then I will do the plant fibers, and it will let you make crude rope as well as fiber bandages, which if you get into a bind early on will be helpful, unless if it's a wolf spider, which it won't help you. But we can craft our axe now. Oh, we need a crude rope. In order to do that, you will go to the far left of your crafting screen and make a crude rope out of 3 plant fibers. Then we can make our axe. Now, just because you never know where you're going to end up, my third resource here that I'm going to make or analyze will be a piece of grass. Now, these do not go into your inventory. You carry them, so you have to be holding them to analyze them. Do this. And like so, you can now begin building a base when you're ready. We don't need this right now, so we're going to head forward. And we are going to head to the mysterious machine. Now, this isn't necessary right off the bat, but in order to do the base setup that I'm going to show you guys for, in my opinion, optimal safety in your first, few days in the backyard, this is what we're going to do. So you're going to trigger target, and you'll notice that there is grass blocking there, and this one is flickering. So first we will cut down this grass. It's down. That path is unblocked. Then we are going to remember also, you can mark things. Now this is already marked for you, but you can put a little toggle down. So we are going to head over to where that's blinking from. Now at this point you should be able to easily have enough materials to make a spear, but we're about to fight some little mites, and in my opinion the axe does just as well against them as the spear would. And here we go. Now, another recommendation early on is run and jump as much as you can while you can in the beginning, because you will get mutations. They're little perks that develop by doing certain things so many times. So like me swinging the axe right now, eventually I can get a perk for it, but you will get one called Natural Explorer by running and jumping around a lot, and it will level up numerous times, and you'll become faster on your feet with it equipped. You can equip a set amount, but eventually you'll be able to upgrade it to use more. I realize I'm taking a little damage. It's not crucial. I'll be fine. But that's the cost of trying to be quick. Now you see it says grounded for repairs. The mysterious machine part 2, investigate the machine further. So now we are going to head back to the waypoint that we made right here, which is already marked mysterious machine. Alright, we are back at the mysterious machine, ready to activate it. So once you're back up here, press the activate button, and you'll see off in the distance that very large tree. That is the oak tree. Underneath it is the oak tree lab. Should have a little spicy explosion happen. There it is. Now that opened up the door to the oak tree lab and will introduce us to our first, and as of now only, NPC. Now this probably shouldn't have happened. I think that was more of an accident. So before we head back there, we are going to chop down a dandelion with our axe. This is our first source of stems. I killed another one. It was an accident also. First source of stems, as well as dandelion tufts somewhere. Where did they go? Chaos. Oh, they're there. I'm sorry. Alright. So, a dandelion tuft is your glider. You can equip that. Now, if you fall or jump from a tall space, you will have a bit of assistance. It will slow down your fall so you can land safely. Allegedly, there's supposed to be an upgraded version of that in 1.0. It's speculative. We don't know for sure, but fingers crossed. So we will now do the stem. More base building edition, as well as the sprig. And we can do sap. Now we have cookable food on accident, so I'm actually going to discard those, which is actually super sad when you think about it, but something will come along and eat it, and that is the circle of life. So we are going to head off to the oak tree. When we go, we're going to circle around this way, not this way. Try and stay as far to the right to about here, and then cut up. Watch out, there could potentially be little larvae, but that is where we're headed off to next. So I'll meet you there. Okay, so now we are at the little waypoint that we made. You should see something along the lines of this, which is the pond. Now we are going to build our first base out here on this lily pad. Nothing crazy, nothing big, though eventually, if you'd like, you can connect all these lily pads into one massive base. But this way, it makes it a safe starter point because nothing can get to you except potentially the wolf spider, but you would have to lead him to it. So if he is ever over in this area chasing you, just jump off into the water somewhere over here, and then you can hop up onto your lily pad. But before we do that, we are going to meet the main man, Burgle. Keep an eye out for these. This is aphid honeydew. It's a decent little source of both drink and food, but primarily just make sure you're picking up the mushrooms. So now that we have some, this is going to be your buffet. This whole area is technically a buffet, But we're going to drop some mushrooms here, drop some here, drop a few over here. You will save a few for yourself. Now what will happen is these mushroom piles will draw in weevils, which are drastically slower than the aphids and make for a pretty decent meal. Later on, you can also build up a stairwell to this, and at night it will be covered in gnats, and those are another good food source, as well as the grubs. Once you unlock a shovel, you will see them crawling around. If you see these are grubs. You take the shovel, you dig them up. You can kill them with the shovel fairly easily. So at this point, I'm going to eat something. Since the only thing I've guided on was the mushrooms, we'll just go ahead and pop a few mushrooms. And then we will head on over to see Burgle. Now there is a wolf spider den over here, but as long as you're paying attention and looking forward, very rarely will they come up behind you. So you may see them coming down from up there, in which case run away. You're just not ready. I will show you. Come up here. Most of the time during the daytime they're sleeping. See, they don't want none right now. And neither do we. So we are going to come down here. You have another resource analyzer. We can go ahead and do the mites. They're little fuzzies, which is good for your first piece of, one of your first pieces of armor, as well as arrows, which the materials for arrows are all in this area as well. So once you fashion your bow, which is kind of the cheese weapon early on in this game. Open this up. Hostile presence detected. Uh-oh. That will show you the different labs you'll eventually need to go to. You can grab a couple saps. Can never have too many saps. And then we're going to go through here and we're going to meet Burgle. Nope. I'll let him go. And he's up. He is also a robot. So we will, well, he's not talkative right now. We're ready, bud. Okay. Come on, bud. There we go. All right. So I'm not going to be the spoiler. You can have that conversation yourself. This is the ASL machine. It is a terminal that lets you upgrade different aspects, spend your raw science, which is the game's currency, as well as milk molars and purchases. So this is a good place to have nearby, which is why I always set up my first starter location here. If the wolf spiders are making you nervous and you need access to a resource analyzer in the beginning, I'm going to cut down a couple of these. There is another one right inside of there. You can swim over, climb up on that log, and run up. Or eventually you can build around, build a walkway straight to there and up, and there is no threat whatsoever in this entire area here. Now down in the water you can find spiders, water spiders, but they're not going to come up and get you, so that's not really a threat. A couple of these guys. And we'll be able to start putting together a base soon. See, it says build shelter, and it gives you the directions on how to build a lean-to. Now, if you've been following along, you should have basically everything already with you that you need for it. Now, these materials are great, but you can lose them. So eventually we are going to build resource holders that will make it so they don't disappear after 24 hours or asleep. So we have the ability to build a lean-to, and we can go ahead and do that now. Right here, and you can just throw it over here. So right now, even though it doesn't seem like it, you are in a safe enough spot. Dry grass chunk is the other material needed to make a roasting spit, which will be your first actual way of cooking food. So I was going to sleep right away and then start a new day, but it's already right here. So keep a couple of these. If you can, bust up one of these guys. Sometime tomorrow the weevils should start appearing around here. Oh, and falling in the water is not serious. There are places where it can be detrimental. It can be a bit tricky hopping back up sometimes, but not serious. So now we have a little place for a meal, easy enough to build, some food to throw on it, and we're good. Now, if you notice my water is low, there is a trick in the beginning to taking care of that. Slurping nasty water will make you sick, and it will make you instantly hungry, as you are about to see. He's not loving it. Let's do it again. So now we are basically starving, but we're not thirsty. So then we will just pop some mushrooms. Now, mushrooms don't do a lot as far as food goes, but they will keep you alive, and one will instantly stop your hunger meter from killing you. So we will head back over. Let's see, actually. Workbench. You know what? Might as well. Let's get the last essential that we'll need for the day. Now you can, I don't know if I mentioned it, you can put the blueprints down before you actually build them, as you saw earlier. I could technically build a base right now without having any materials and then just kind of bring them over and build it. Materials can be tedious to carry around, but in not too long we will solve that problem. So we'll get our workbench right here, throw it together. Beautiful. Now, carrying 5 of these at a time is a temporary thing. Eventually we will be able to build basically pallets that will hold either stems or grass. They will hold, I believe it's 18 or 21, one or the other of each. And you can pick them up just like this and carry them around. Now that doesn't seem that helpful, but you can carry a empty one around over to the grass, pick up all the materials, load them in, pick up some more, load them in, and then pick up the full carrier and bring it back to your base. And then you will have materials to sit and start crafting. So we will eventually come to that. But for now, I think we're going to get some rest. Oh, before we do, trail marker. This is one of the most crucial things in the game. You can use it for anything. Say you find a food source or a place where there's an abundance of dew that drops, or some item that you want in particular. You can make one of these, very easy to make. Then you set a custom marker. There's an anthill You can set one for the anthill, a place where they have little mini raids. You can set up the axes. This one we're going to do the house. We're going to make it blue because it's a water base. Now when you're on your map, you will always have that marker to lead you back. So there's that. Let's get some rest and we will start again in the morning. Oh, also always set a respawn point. Always. Or else you're going to start back at the kid case. Alright, good morning. Or in my case, it's still evening because I hit the hay a little early. So we are going to start off this day by building your hammer. Because we need some armor. Now, if you were able to build the spit and get some food, be a good time to eat it. Now, all these little markers showing the food and water, that's a newer addition since my last playthrough. But if you notice up here, you will see dewdrops in the trees. Give it a little smack, drops down to the ground, and you're good to get it as long as it don't drop into nasty water. So we need, I believe, sprigs. Yes, we need sprigs. So easy enough. You'll come up here. Remember, there's your base down there. Coming straight up. This is a fairly safe area right here. There is spiders that patrol in that area, but right here is generally pretty safe. And there's a lot of sprigs over here, as well as a lot of clovers. And for when the time comes for stems, just remember dandelions. So, down here, there is a stink bug. He can be pretty vicious, but you don't need to head that way just yet. So, we have our sprigs. We need a crude rope. Remember I told you, you don't need a workbench. You can craft as many as you want. It just takes 3. So, we will make our pebblet hammer. And then we're going to head over to these acorns. Now around this tree, up until the last update, was the only place you could really find them. There's a spot out there where you can find a couple rolled down too, but they are so abundant around this tree. And they're a consistently useful item to have as well. You never really stop needing them. We're going to bust up the 4 that are around here. Notice you're also picking up acorn bits, which is a snack. It's not going to fill you up, but it will help. Get this last one. Like I said, there are a bunch around here. I'm just sticking to this side for right now because unless if the wolf spider's out, which it isn't right now, this whole area over here is absolutely safe. And he will come from that direction at night and he'll patrol. He'll walk out to right there and then he goes back. He doesn't stick around very long. Little aphid honeydew action. Now with it still being early, there is a chance he could be up here. So just keep your eyes open. They're very avoidable as long as you're paying attention to where you're going. So we're going to come back here. Burgle wants to talk, but we're not ready for that yet. Resource analyzer, we're going to check out the dry grass. We're going to check out the acorn. And we will check out, let's do crude rope. This won't be our last trip in here today. So we'll head out of here. And now we should be able to start farming for our first set of armor. Make sure you peek, because he could be up there. Remember, ladybugs are some of the friendliest creatures in this game. You can actually use them to fight tougher enemies. If a spider is chasing you, stand on the ladybug. When he comes up to attack, move back. The spider will hit the ladybug. The ladybug will not like that whatsoever, and it will put in some work on that spider. Okay. Now let's see what we need for our acorn gear. 1 for that, 3 for that, 2 for that. Now I'm not a mathematician by any means, but it appears we may have what we need. So we need to make some crude rope. If you press X, you can make 5 at a time. Just make sure you're picking up the fibers every chance you get. Crude rope is not the only reason that fibers are useful, but in the beginning for crafting, they are very, very helpful. So we will make a mask. Oh, I'm not at the bench. That's on me. The mask, the chest plate, and the legs. And now we have our first set of armor, and on top of that, it is not the weakest armor in the game. A lot of people will start with I believe it's clover armor, not us. We are in a good position and we look super creepy. Now back here, I noticed that we did unlock both the storage chest, the plank pallet, and the stem pallet. Now we are going to go out and try and get the materials necessary to make all 3 of these things. So we will need more acorn shells. It should be okay, but you're getting into riskier areas now. Dry grass and pebblets should be very, very easy to get. So we are headed back up here. Keep an eye out on the ground. Remember to keep picking up the fibers because we are not going to not need them anytime soon. Now up here, you will have these, which there are pebblets everywhere, but if you want some quick, you can get a plethora that way. You can also bust these if you're low on sap, but sap is also everywhere over here. Now the spiders will come out here, but you can generally see ahead of time, and if you see them before they see you, you're in good shape, which most of the time you will. You just have to know where they're coming from. They won't be coming from this direction, so keep your eyes forward. Woo woo. Do not accidentally hit the ladybug. He's a peaceful guy, but he hits like a tank. Let's see if the spiders are even up yet. Nope. They are mostly nocturnal, but you can catch them out and about during the day at times. Okay. Now, I believe it's telling us to scan a clover leaf because it wants us to make the clover armor. But like I said, doesn't really compare to being suited out in acorns. The game will give you what you need to survive, but we're trying to thrive here. Oh, we need dry grass. Switch over to your axe. Chop down a couple of these fellas. Never hurts. Okay. One more should do it. Okay. Might as well bring this guy. Now it may take a couple of days for the weevils to pick up on the mushrooms, but they will come. Okay, so first we'll do our storage chest. Hold down X, it'll do a quick build. And now we can drop off materials. Now I actually want to put mine closer to here. That way we can drop everything that isn't immediately necessary or that we haven't analyzed. You do want to keep your unanalyzed items on you, because when the time comes, you want to keep analyzing. So when you do that, the items that you hold in your inventory will appear in here. For some reason, they're not right now, but they do. Yep, there they are. Okay, so next we are going to do the plank pallet. Throw it over here. 5, 3, 4. Probably didn't need to put all that stuff away just yet. Just showing you could. And there's that. Next we will blueprint the stem pallet and place that right next to it. Gonna need to make a couple more ropes. Okay. So now, if you want a little more security in your life, even though, like I said, it's not really necessary over here, but who knows what kind of obstacles they are going to throw our way. So let's get bougie with it. Little light. And then we will need a door. Perfect. Okay. Now obviously we don't have enough to build this up, but we can throw a couple of these on. Gotta start with the beginner there. Okay. We have one wall successfully. Call it a day. A little joke there. Alright, so we need stems. Stems are crucial. So we're going to grab this. Eventually we will be able to build a little bridge there, but it's not a hard jump. Worst case scenario, you get hit, you get into a fight or something like that, it will just drop this back where it started. So you just pick it up, and then you can drop it every once in a while if you want the security. See this? That's raw weevil meat. That is not from us killing one. That is because the ants are coming over and killing them. That means they are trying to get over to our farm, our little mushroom farm, but they're getting intercepted. But eventually, it becomes overwhelming and they will get there. We'll drop this here. And we'll start working on our first one. I guess I could... No, I left him over there. That's okay. Now eventually, once we kill enough ants, we'll get an ant armor And that ant armor will allow us to carry 8 things at a time instead of just 5. And then after that, you can also make a slurry, which is basically a juice, a cocktail, and it's based off the ant's power, and it will make it so you can carry 2 things at a time. So if you combine all that, you'll be able to carry 10 things just in your hands. So I have my hands full. I have some of these in here, not full by any means, but some. And I'm still able to carry it. I do see my water, but I have a minute and a half, so we should be okay. Now I will add, it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that you could even carry these completely full. So it was important that I made a note of that. Now that can of pop right there, oh, too steep, huh? It will generally have fluid in it. Now this does a little bit for hunger and a little bit for your thirst. Any kind of juice or soda or anything like that will have the same effect. Also, one will drop out of here every day, and then it just stops right there and stops. So you will always have a last minute food or drink. You can't do it while you're holding stuff. So just like that, I am not thirsty anymore. And another weevil meat, because the ants are doing the work for us. Yeah, see, they're starting to come now. Little by little. And they love them a mushroom. I'm going to set this here in case I fall in the water. It's going to be close. Not enough, but close. We were a wall short. A wall and some crude rope. So we won't need to take that back out again, since we only need a handful. But I do need to make sure that I grab some plant fibers on the way, because I'm short on rope. Mind if I do? Now that we have a chest back there, you really should be picking up everything. No matter what, later on you'll realize that you can never have enough materials. You don't normally find raw weevil meat laying around as much as we are right now. I think that's just breaking the cycle in for the weevils going over there. Oh, what's up, fella? Pardon us. The further we go over here, the more dangerous it gets in every direction. Honestly, allegedly where that machine was is supposed to be the safest area in the game. But I find that this area that we are camping at is by far the safest area. Any threats... Something is behind us. Ah, that's okay. He's a tank, he's a hard hitter, but he's slow, and he usually will not go past this point. Unless if he's right behind you. And he already gave up. I'm running on fumes over here. keep running, keep jumping. Okay. Few spares there. Do a couple crude ropes. And there we go. Now, I don't think that we have a roof yet because we have not examined the clovers yet. Have we? I don't think so. Anyways, look at that guy. He's a traveler. We'll break down a few of these. They are everywhere. In the beginning, when you're building with a lot of grass and stems and clovers, this place is just a haven for them. Everything you need is right here in such a safe distance, and you can always run out to the water if necessary. But like I said, the spiders are the only thing that's going to be a threat to you out here. And it's ironically just wolf spiders in this area. Now I could hit that ant and, you know, make an enemy. But this early on, that's about the hardest threat that you have. Notice that was fairly simple, and it's not even an advanced. Technically, it's not even a weapon. It's a utility item, but so we will look at, oh, I waited too long on these. I might not make that back on time. The food will expire before you put it on the spit, so just something to remember. The acorn top. Now, in my opinion, the acorn top or the sap catcher that you can make from the acorn top is pretty overrated because you can only attach it to basically big roots in the tree, but there is sap everywhere by this tree. So when you build a base later on, it's not a bad idea to put a bunch of sap catchers over here if your base is further away, because you can always come back, farm from that spot, then go right back. Okay, now it wants us to craft a fiber bandage, so we can accommodate. Very easy to make, doesn't require much. Look at that little cutie. Just a little pal, a little hangout buddy. Doing his thing. Anyways. Okay, so we have our armor. Now we need to work on a weapon. Notice that we did just unlock the red ant equipment. It's fairly decent armor. It's the same defense as the acorn, but it does allow you to not only blend in with ants so they won't attack you, but it also allows you to carry more materials. So it's definitely something that you want to build early on. The materials required are red ant parts, which we just got from killing a basic ant. You can take them on very early on in the game as long as you have some sort of weapon. Just make sure you're by yourself if you're uncomfortable and there's not like 5 ants around, or else they can be overwhelming. The acid gland, however, is from the ants, soldiers, which are about 3 or 4 times bigger than an ant, and they pack a punch. So you can take one on fairly early on. You just need to make sure that you're prepared and ready. But we want to get a red ant club. That is the go-to item for right now, as well as a shovel. Don't have enough to make another one, so grab a few more plant fibers. And always keep an eye on your food and water intake, because it can sneak up on you. And if you're in the wrong place, it can be bad. But your main thing is making sure that you have something to eat at all times, because there is water almost everywhere. Now, I don't have this on the danger noodle mode or danger puff or whatever they call it. So if you do have a fear of spiders, this video can probably be a bit cringy for you. It's blocking my way. Okay. So we made our shovel. And we can make a pebblet spear. Actually, I would rather have the spiky sprig. Okay, so I will show you the shovel real quick. Pull it out. See these guys moving? Pull them out. Give them a few hits. You can easily change weapons and do actual damage to them. They will drop grub sludge, grub hide, and meat. Now all it takes is about 2 meat to take you from starving to full. So if done correctly, don't eat it raw. I have meat probably rotting in my backpack right now. That's not a smart move. Put it on the spit. I'm only doing it because I'm familiar enough with the game to know that I'm not going to just die from starvation. That is an Orb Weaver Jr. He's an okay guy. Just, you know, don't get too close to him. Now, spider webs are a huge material in this game. So it's not a bad idea to try and sneak up on a spider web if you get the opportunity. Hack at it a few times. Make it yours. There it is. Okay. So I want to make that spiky club before it gets dark. So this is the next item necessary. We will be picking as many of these up as you feel comfortable with. It's not sketchy unless if you did not pick up a dandelion tuft, because by the time you get up to the top, it's a pretty far fall down. I'm better than this, I swear. Alright, and you can just kind of... But we don't need to go crazy because we're not making arrows right now. That should be sufficient. So we are going to head back to our base. And that ladybug is just loving it over there for some reason. So, spiky sprig, we need 2 crude ropes. That's what we're missing. And we had just enough. Now we have a decent enough weapon to start off with. At least good enough to take on the ant soldiers. So... get that out. We got our armor. The spit is inside. Throw some meat on it. And we can go ahead and crash. Get an early start in the morning. Alright. Alright, it's a new day. Can drink some nasty water, eat some meat off your spit. I'm okay somehow. And we are going to head off for the most dangerous leg of the journey so far. We have 2 goals for today, which will probably be the last day because it is the first hour. Now, even though this is my first YouTube video ever of all time in the whole wide history of YouTube videos for me. Let's see if they're up. I can't help it. I like to flirt with danger. Man, sleepy spiders. If you are interested, like, subscribe, and I will put out a next hour video. I don't know if we have any more. Yep, we do. Do the flower petal. Make a comfy chair once we get some berries. Do the grubs. And you can do these little fellas. Not everything's going to have something super useful, but it is still worth analyzing every single thing. Now we are going to talk to Burgle. You don't have to read what he's saying if you don't want any spoilers. But, sorry, I'm going so fast trying to make it so you can't read it on purpose. That I keep repeating the same options. Okay, now we have our missions unlocked, which we are not going to do. We can't unlock that one yet. Have to come over here, and by doing this, we are going to unlock the ability to start purchasing things. And now we can buy stuff. So raw science is the currency in the game. It lets you buy upgrades and things like that. Burgle quests are little missions that you can do throughout the game. They'll update every day, and you can get raw science, which, like I said, is the currency of the game. We're not going to do that. You are welcome to. I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is buy multi-story bases. And that should be pretty much the only thing that I'm looking for. Oh, the smithing station helps. That way you can upgrade your weapons. So the goal of today is to work towards putting a roof on your house, even though in this particular location it is not necessary because nothing is coming in. But if they do add weather effect, it could become relevant. So now we can build floors, and now we can build roofs. By building floors, we are now able to, look at that big old ant, we are now able to build a pathway over to the resource analyzer by the lake. Now I'm trying to creep past this. I don't know if it's going to let me, but eventually I am going to go down there, so it wouldn't have mattered if I would have fallen anyways. Now this whole area used to be filled with quartzite, but it no longer is. True shame. The milk molars and regular and the other molars will upgrade your abilities, your health, your stamina, and stuff like that. But right now that's not super relevant. Our goal is to kill one of these things and not die. They are not the strongest creature in the game by any means, but they can kill you early on, even with your acorn armor. So we are going to try and escape those two. Come up here. And get the one that's by himself. Whoa! He did a big jump. I trapped myself. Now we do have these. Now the goal behind this is, this weapon is okay. it's sufficient for normal day-to-day around the yard stuff. But we want acid glands, and we have them. So we can't do it here. Oh, it isn't acid glands. I'm sorry. It's red ant mandibles. But the acid gland is cool. So we are going to try and take on one more. See if we can lure him away by himself. Doesn't look like he's going to let that happen. Come on. Now, a perfect parry goes a long way. Blocking is always helpful, but if you can time it just right, come on. There it is. And clubs are definitely underrated in this game. I'm a big fan of swords, but the club is great. So we have everything but the crude rope needed. Easy enough. We've made quite a few already. Might as well take a little guy on while we're at it. Make sure we got plenty of parts. They know I killed their friend. Now, once you kill enough of them and you get the red ant armor, you can come through here with no problem whatsoever, as well as the actual red ant hill. We're going to be a little reckless. I would not try that if you're not prepared to die. Sometimes they'll just spontaneously wake up. What's up, fella? Oh, man. Little trooper. Alright, heading back down towards base. Now, if you don't get that soda every day, eventually the balls of liquid will build up down here. And you can get a couple days worth. But it is an easy everyday resource that will be available. That ladybug sure likes hanging out down here. Okay. So now we can do, let's see, do I have enough? I do. Just barely, but I do. 2 more crude ropes. What am I missing? Was I not at the workbench? Okay. Now this is, in my opinion, one of the best starting weapons in the game. And now you are a pretty tough fella. See, it's quite a bit better than the club you had before. May even be enough to take him on. Not gonna though, because I've kind of grown attached. So now that we unlocked multi-tier, let's see. Can do a floor, no need. You can do a fancy roof, but we're just gonna keep it simple. We are going to need to grab some stems. At least one, I guess. which is fine because I want to do something else anyways. Got so much items in there that took the place of my axe. You can set up your inventory down here. Now I know I could have sped all this up, and I probably should have, because it's going to be long, and I don't know if anyone's going to want to do a full play-by-play like this, but hopefully, I know sometimes when I'm watching YouTube videos, they miss certain aspects that I wish I'd seen, so I'm trying to leave that detail out. Alright. We're going to abuse this opportunity and get that. Actually, don't really even need to fight them. We got what we came for. They're fast. They may jump up and make me drop my sticks, but yep. Now I'm kind of just saving my club because those guys are easy. When you're malnourished, your stamina will decrease. Which is another thing. I'm just rushing. I'm not taking the time to make sure that I'm fed and nourished. But that's something you may want to do. You don't have to go at the pace that I'm trying to go anyways. Alright. Now we are going to, just for the sake of doing it, we're going to swap this up. Yep. So we're taking out this door frame. And we're going to put in one with an actual door. Easy enough. Look at that orb weaver over there. They really don't come over here. You can lure them over here, but that's about the only time you'll have that happen. Looks like my ladybug left. Oh, there he is. Okay. Last things last. We need 2 more. So they're starting to come over here a little bit when the ants aren't killing them. Okay. Now, when you see the dew in the trees in the early morning, I always try and go to sleep at a late enough time, or early enough time, where it's still nighttime when I wake up, because there will be dew in the grass all over the place up there. Now, we will be able to build dew collectors out of spider webs. I could possibly even get that recipe now if I went and analyzed it, but we are at our first hour of playthrough, possibly exceeded by a bit. The last thing I just did there was I built a canteen, which is what I was getting at there. This canteen is the first of, I believe, 3 different canteens. You have this one, and then there's an upgraded one. This one holds 2 drops of water. The upgraded one holds 4, and then they just released a charcoal canteen, which the charcoal canteen will allow you to scoop up dirty water, and it will clean it, and you just repair it. So you can take that canteen, you can go over to the juice box, you can go over to the soda, you can go over to the dew, knock it on the ground, and scoop it up, and you'll have clean water with you wherever you go. So not only will you have your food from right there, but you will also have water. And like I said, you'll be able to throw a big dew collector, and if you're playing by yourself, 1 dew collector will be sufficient. So it will replenish basically 4 drops of dew a day. If you're playing with someone else, you'll generally want 2 spits, and you will want 2 dew collectors. So that is it. We are home with a roof over our head. We have the ability to build. Mind you, you're going to want to make this a little more aesthetically pleasing because I just kind of chaosed it, but you can craft your materials, and you now have sufficient armor and weapons to actually go out into the world and take on enemies. So my next suggestion for you would be analyze, 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 start building your own way, and go from there. So thanks guys. We'll hit a little save on this just in case I do a second video. But thanks for watching. If you like it, like and subscribe. Give me some critiques. Positive, negative criticism is fine as well. This is my first YouTube video, and hopefully it will not be my last. Thanks for watching.